Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show. We're getting right into it right away. We've got an incredible performance so far by Kyrie Irving, 41 points in the first half. The second half is now just underway, and we're going to kind of watch it and talk about it and talk about other things while we're doing it as well. So Combo can't watch the game on League Pass, unfortunately, because he's in New York. God damn it. But I'm gonna talk you through everything. I'm going to give you my play-by-play, and we're going to have a good time with it. So Combo, thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me, Coach Nick. What is new, man?
Hey, we're doing this on Twitter as well, and I don't know what that looks like. Do you know what it looks like? How do people find it? I don't know. I don't see anything about it, but supposedly Twitter's on here, and maybe even some comments from Twitter will come on to my thing. So I'm excited. We got people out there commenting already. Michael, his effective field goal percentage is below. Not impressed. Right. We had somebody who had 100%. Was it KD? Somebody had a massive game. Maybe it was Kyrie before. No, it was Kyrie's 50-point game last week, where his effective field goal was, I think, 100% or maybe more. Atrio is always a kick in the face when I miss great performances like this because I don't want to watch a Magic game. I hear you. So here we go. Kyrie's bringing the ball down the first possession of the Nets game. Let's just see what they're going to run for him. They're going to do pick and roll with a slip for KD. And they're not looking for Kyrie right now. KD went right to the basket for a runner and gets goaltended by your friend of mine, Andre Drummond. So here's the thing. I want to talk a little bit about why we're seeing so many of these huge point explosions, Combo. We talked about it in your show, but what are your thoughts about, like, we've seen 6 of these already in March alone, 50-point games?
Yeah, I mean, you discussed on my show how you feel like maybe the season is lagging a little bit. People are just more excited for the playoffs and really aren't maybe as excited for these regular season games. So the defense might not be as sharp or locked in. I also wanted to hear your thoughts on if you think it's a regression from what the refs were going towards when it comes to when it was in the beginning of the season, right? When everything was focused on having maybe a more physical NBA. Are we starting to go away from that, do you think? Like, do you think that could be part of the reason?
Well, a lot of things going on in what we're talking about with this, why there's explosion and why the refs are involved or not. The biggest point I think I want to make is this is the time frame in the season where, you got a lot of, bad defensive teams and bad teams who are not going to make the playoffs, and they're doing the DGAF kind of defense. So you're going to see these guys. And on the flip side, you're going to have other teams who are good trying to jockey for position. So they're going to go off and try and carry their teams. So this is always like the dog days of summer in the middle of the year right here in the March time. So we'll see, I bet you, another 5 or 6 in March alone. Here's the 7th one. It looks like at least Kyrie's got 2 free throws already in the second half. He'll get to 50, no problem. So I think that's part of the biggest reason is that you're getting a product on the floor that's kind of suboptimal now, that some teams are kind of, not going to play defense very well at all. And then in conjunction with the other stars who want to, do it. Kyrie just did an ISO on the right wing into a 3, but missed, so he didn't get a chance to add to that total. Now, what was your issue with the refs you were talking about?
Well, the point of emphasis was making the game more physical, pretty much, or just actually enforcing the rules that were already there, because the rules were already there, but they just wanted maybe to enforce them at a higher level this season. And obviously, it was crazy in the beginning. It almost went back to 90s basketball, even though it didn't get all the way back to that. So do you believe the refs kind of regressed to what it was for the past few seasons or past 8 or 9 years and not really paid attention to those point of emphasis as much, even though they actually did just send out a tweet that they're going to re-emphasize the point of emphasis? So we will see. But what are your thoughts on all of that? Yeah,
I still see a lot of contact being let go, in a way that I like, giving the defense a chance. So I haven't seen it turn too much, but I mean, obviously, if you look at the free throw numbers, this is a good way to kind of instantly try and get a handle on that. Like Harden, for instance, who I still feel bad for. I feel like he has been the target of no calls for very strange reasons, but he's getting his free throws. It's not like he's not getting those now. So I mean, I think it's kind of balancing out, and I think they'll be ready to go. And this will be the way they're calling the game is a little bit similar to how they would call it in the playoffs all these years, right?
Wow,
which was interesting because you get to the playoffs and they would talk about how much more physical it was the referees allow, but it's until you go through it, you don't really know what that's like. Well, guess what? They've gone through it. This whole season's been the playoff refereeing, and so maybe that'll change the way the playoffs are played in theory. So we'll see that. who knows out there what happens when you do a Twitter video? Does it appear on the top of your timeline? And then how do I share that? I don't see it anywhere. Anyone have an ideas? Let me know in the comments so I could figure it out. But I checked the Twitter video box when we went live today. So it should be out there. And I got all these different comments coming in. Looks like mostly from YouTube, but maybe somebody from Twitter will come out there. Anyway, so that's my take. I think it's interesting though in the sense that maybe players will be played better in the playoffs now that they're more used to the playoff reffing. What do you think?
Maybe it'll just even get more physical. Maybe we'll see even more of a ramp up, and it'll get really back to that, as I mentioned already, that 90s basketball. But I think it's great if it is more of a synchronized style of reffing from the regular season to the postseason. I think that would be awesome.
For sure. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. I mean, we got a little ways to go now, and we got some positioning to continue, and we'll see. I mean, so far, I think the Suns have a lock on the first place. Without Chris Paul, they haven't missed much of a beat, so they'll be first. Obviously, what's going to be most interesting is the play-in stuff. I think in the beginning, and like whether or not a team like the Lakers are even going to make the play-in. They're not going to win a lot of games the rest of the year. Do you think? They only have probably 12 games left. I'm not sure they're going to win that many.
When are they mathematically done? That's what I want to know. I don't think there's that many games left, but it doesn't look good for them. And some people still think that Anthony Davis could save them, but I don't really think that's the case. I held on to hope more than a lot of others did. But I think there are still a few people holding on to hope and thinking AD could come back and they could go on a run here towards the end and maybe get in the play-in if it's not the playoffs.
Right. Well, I mean, right now, let's see. They played the Lakers are 29-39. So that's what 49, 59, 69, 68, 68 games, 78. They have 80, 78,
82 games, yeah.
14 more games left. Right.
That sounds right. Yep.
And they're 2.5 games up on the Blazers and 3 games up on the Spurs. So that's the thing is the Blazers and the Spurs. So the Pelicans are the 10th spot. So, they should be able to stay, in the 10th spot, but like they'll probably are only a game in front of the Pelicans right now, for that 10th spot. So they'll probably end up having to play, 2, if they're going to make the playoffs at all, they're going to win those 2 games. I think it's 2, right? You got to win 2.
Yeah. If you're the 10th, I think you have to win.
Yeah. You got to win 2 to be the 8th seed. And then they get rewarded by playing the Suns, which they had played last year. And with AD, kind of had their number until AD went down. I know that Chris Paul was hurt in the beginning too, as Kyrie just misses another bit of a runner. The Magic made a little bit of a run, make this game close, and that's also key because if it starts to slow down for Kyrie a little bit here, and he only he's closer to like 50, and they're up by 20 something in the fourth, like he won't play. They're not going to give him a shot. But for him to keep playing, even if it's the game isn't close. He's going to have to get – how many points do you think he's going to need to get to start the fourth quarter for them to leave in a blowout? 60?
60, 62, 64, because then they'll want to see him get 80. Because once you start getting it to 80, that's rare territory. That's only Kobe, and then you got Wilt. Right.
So that's a lot, but maybe it's 55. But he still needs. Let me get the. I need to get the live darn. Hang on, the box score here. Let's see if this is updated on NBA's. So right now he's got 42. I think he missed a free throw. Yeah. So he's got 42 with 8 minutes to go. So and he's probably not going to play the full quarter anyway. So he's going to have to get hot really fast and score about 10 points in 3 minutes if he wants to make a run. We'll see. But it was pretty scintillating either way in the first half when you even was watching the highlights. But again, no surprise when you go up against a team like the Magic, young, inexperienced. They're not a good defensive team anyway. So it's always. I remember I once had like courtside seats to a Lakers game in I want to say 2002, like in the middle of that run. Yeah, I think it was around that time, 2002, 2003. Maybe it was. No, you know what? It could have been the Gary Payton era, and it was right around this time. And it was all it was not embarrassing, but it was like nobody was playing hard at all. You know what I mean? Like nobody cared. And it was just a weird vibe in the stadium and then whatever. And that's sort of what it feels like a little bit in these, somebody cares, the guy scoring all the points, but not the other team. So
was that the year that Karl Malone got hurt really early in the season?
Yeah, but he played for a lot of it and then got hurt in the playoffs. And that was what probably, I think if Karl Malone was healthy, I think that they probably could have beaten the Pistons that year. That was 2004. It's not the most popular take these days.
Oh yeah,
And
the Pistons won it all.
yeah, they won in 5. So it's like, how can you say, well, can Karl Malone have really flipped around that much? But he was a starter and he was good, and they needed him, and they didn't have much depth at that position after
How
that.
how far off his prime was he at that point?
Far.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
but still like capable. But he was not, he was at the end. That was the very end.
Okay.
But he goes down. I think they were bringing like the corpse of Horace Grant was playing for him and stuff. Like it was, a pretty big drop off at that point. And by the way, Horace Grant was awesome and terrific, but not by 2002.
Yeah, he really showed how great he was. Obviously, all those Bulls years, but also that one Orlando Magic year when they beat the Bulls. He was fantastic in that series.
Oh yeah, and he relished every second of it because it was against his old team. I was at all those games, and I remember them clearly. Him just being impossible to handle.
Oh, you were in the building. You were in the building.
Yeah, I had tickets to all the Bulls games for all those years.
That's right.
Luckily enough, here comes Kyrie down on top of the circle, looking to probe against the defense, and oh my goodness, is that an one? I think he's got an one on a runner off the glass high, and I don't know who that is. Number 13. I don't know who Hampton is on the Magic. Who is that?
RJ Hampton. He's a second-year player. He played in Australia for a year, and now he's with the Magic. He's really athletic. He has promise, like a lot of the other guards on the Magic do. So we'll see how it goes for him. And the Orlando Magic is they're an interesting team, and I don't think this just goes for the Magic. I think there's really good NBA players on every NBA team, even on the really bad ones.
Yeah. I mean, you have to wonder if it's like, scoring a lot of points on a bad team. There's that kind of vibe for some of these guys. Then there's guys who are just really, really solid, and the team isn't good, so they're going to lose games, or maybe they're incentivized to lose games because they want to get a higher draft pick. But so you can see it usually, right? Like I think we're getting better and better at realizing, that guy is just kind of filling it up. Usually it's like a guy who's getting 20 a game and he's shooting about 39% from the field.
Well, if it's a young player, a lot of times you just look at like how he gets his shot off, or the effortlessness he gets his shot off, or the way he handles the basketball, the way he passes the basketball, even though the efficiency isn't great yet. That's sometimes something you could improve upon just by taking the better shots with better shot selection over time. So for young players, efficiency isn't like, it's not a death sentence in any form or fashion,
For sure. And by the way, if you want to get your comment up on the screen and talk to us directly, the super chat on YouTube is the best way to do that. And King J4, thank you so much. Very, very generous. Huge thanks for you. That's awesome. Longtime fan of your content, Coach. Where would you rank Kyrie in terms of skill all time? Ooh, that's a really great. Oh, Combo, you want to say number one?
Number one all time, the most skillful player in NBA history is Kyrie Irving.
Wow.
Not the best player in NBA history, obviously, but the most skillful player. The amount of options he has as an offensive player is just insane. He could pull up either way. He has every single move at a signature level. He could play on the ball. He could play off the ball. He has every finish you could think of. He could score on 3 levels. He has every move you could think of. Kyrie Irving is the most skillful player in NBA history. There's not a player in NBA history with more offensive options as Kyrie Irving.
Wow. Okay. I mean, certainly like the ball handling wizardry, there's I don't think I've seen anybody do what he can do. And there's people who are close or whatever, but okay, so he's 1 and 1A, whatever. Shot making around the basket from his size is also unparalleled in my mind. The skill that required to do the shots he can make, especially the ones way high off the backboard when he hits the backboard way on the top and then drops in with spin a lot of times. So yeah, that's definitely there. He certainly is an elite shooter. So I mean, yeah, I suppose if you're talking about skill, because there are guys who are dominant without the highest level of skill, right? And we know who they are. But yeah, I'm not going to argue that hard. I mean, Steph could very well be up there. He can handle the ball like Kyrie can. He can, in Steph's prime, he would finish as well as Kyrie. So
I just feel like he didn't have as many finishes as Kyrie, right?
Yeah, probably not. But okay, and you got to split hairs at that point, right? Because it's like, how many finishes do you need? But it's Kyrie. I would say he's got more, and he's a little bit more athletic, or maybe a lot more athletic than Steph, right?
Yeah.
He's got a little more bouncy. He's got more hang time, that kind of thing. So, what's Shams tweeting? Shams is saying Minnesota's Jaden McDaniels will be reevaluated in 2 weeks due to a right ankle sprain. Okay. That's not helpful for them. He's important. But anyway, so King J, I hope that answers your question. Great question. Always really good to think about when we're watching, especially when we're
I'm
watching.
surprised you agree with me because sometimes people disagree.
I mean,
with what
Kyrie just dribbled out of bounds as we're talking about skill. He threw the dribble out in front of him off of a hedge and then lost the control of the ball. It's the second time he's lost control of the ball on a move. He's getting a little excited, I think, to try and get his.
Well, that's good. An excited Kyrie is good because sometimes it's almost he gets bored when he's in the lane because he has so many.
Right. Oh yeah, if you talk trash to him and you get him kind of engaged like that, he's the one guy you do not want to do. Like kind of like Michael used to be that way. Michael would more physically dominate you, but Kyrie is going to embarrass you.
Yeah.
But it looks like the Nets are not really going to Kyrie, every time in a way that but they're scoring. So now they're up by 25. This is going to be, this is key here. The next couple minutes, if Kyrie can get an and one and then maybe another bucket, then maybe they're going to give him a shot. But I can't see him playing much. Now here's the thing: they're going to play in Brooklyn next, so they know that he can get a game rest. So they could play him more minutes if they really wanted to give him another shot.
Yeah, I mean he's on super load management if you think about it.
Right, totally. Yeah. So where did I lost my. Oh, here it is. So Kyrie, he had 45 now after that and one. So he needs another and one or a 3-point shot to kind of get going again, get the scoring lubricated again. But let's see here, and we got Mo Wagner, who we're going to do a video on. I think for a rookie series. We talked about earlier about I want to do one on Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green. And so Jalen Green, I wasn't that high on coming into the season. I thought he had a good 3-point shot and not a lot of other things.
Very athletic.
Yeah, he's kind of sneaky athletic, right? Like he looks kind of, not very big and cut or anything like that. But yeah, he can get up off the ground.
Yeah, quick first step, quick to the rim. Great dunker. The thing I like about him is the separation he gets with his shot. Like he gets his shot off effortlessly. It's just the efficiency he has to get better with, which I already said that I think, it's something that you could prove upon all the time. So this isn't a question. This is kind of like a statement.
Abe is great in Canada, I believe. It's so convinced that Kobe was the most skilled that he had to do a super chat to let us all know and drop that bomb. Thank you, Abe, for the super chat. Listen, Kobe is more skilled in the post than Kyrie is, right?
Kyrie's pretty skilled in the post.
I mean, he doesn't really do it. I can't picture Kyrie posting up right now. Can you?
Actually, yeah, I see him post up. Yeah, no, I mean like Jordan and Kobe were probably more skilled in the post, but right. I do think. I mean, and look, those players were better basketball players than Kyrie Irving, but we're just talking about skill set here and skill level here.
Right.
So
Kyrie catch and shoot, and he hits it right wing 3. Big. But again, they left him. He got a little bit of space. By the way, he had one no dip 3 in the right corner in the first half, which is the pinnacle of shooting. You have to dip when you shoot the ball from 25 feet. But if you can master that shot at the NBA level, you get to a certain level in your career. Yeah, and then we can start talking about maybe some no dip stuff like Duncan Robinson does. Clay every once in a while will do, but again, they do it like 1% of their shots. Kyrie had one, but he just had a nice little, maybe even a hop and a really quick rhythm dip and just swished the 3 clean. So he's at 48. Oh, and he got by
another.
Oh my God, he just got by Cole Anthony. And then got met by maybe Mo Bamba. I can't tell who that was. On the way down, ball away from his body, off the glass, and then in. They should have given him a foul. So there's an example, Combo. You're wondering when guys get going, do they get calls? That should have been a foul if he was because of how well he's been going. They did not give it to him. So there's an answer there. But I mean, you're right. When you watch it finish like that, that's better than anything Steph could do.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Maybe you flip on. Somebody will share that on Twitter. If I wasn't here, I'd be on Twitter sharing this all over the place. And if I wasn't afraid of having live footage on a live stream, then I would share my screen share. But I cannot do that. But thank you so much, Abe, for the comment on Kobe. It's always nice to have him in there. We have another super chat already. Very, very generous. Thank you so much, EH Chaser, Eric. Honestly, I think Kyrie is overwhelming underachieved legacy-wise. He might be the most skilled player in NBA history, but we don't really remember anything other than an epic Game 7 winner. I mean, I don't know. Is that true?
No, I don't think it's I don't think it's like I remember he was 50 40 90 last year. I think that's pretty epic. Like, and I know that's not just a one moment thing, it's over the course of a season, but I think that's an amazing feat for a guy who you already mentioned just was like, the greatest under the rim finisher ever and the skill level that he is, just to top it off with like a 50 40 90 season. But obviously, he does have that moment versus Steph. He does have that moment versus Steph with the game, that game clinching shot, as Ed Chaser is alluding to, which is a huge moment in NBA history. It did get a little bit overshadowed by LeBron's block, but that is a crazy moment, and you can't take that away from him. I don't think he underachieved. He's an NBA champion.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of which, he might be realizing something we don't know in terms of playing time going forward. He just had a 20 dribble ISO on two guys. Oh my God, he gets in the open. Oh geez. So clearly the Magic are now focusing. They're going to be like, we don't want this guy to go off anymore. He got two guys to him, and it literally was a 15 dribble ISO in the corner, just threw it up and shot an air ball. But then he gets open in the open court, does a Euro nicely by Cole Anthony, but then Markelle Fultz comes from behind and just sends that back out of bounds. So he's serious. Markelle Fultz does not want this to happen anymore. They might have to go away from him for a couple possessions just to kind of see if the defense will forget about him. Sometimes, by the way, with like really good shooters, you take them out and then, because they're all keyed up on them and they're glued to them, they can't get them open. Take them out and then you kind of put him back in after a minute and like they kind of don't realize he's back in, and then you might get a shot or two open for him. I've done that as a coach before and found that's helpful. So we'll see. But my mind is on that one ISO he had. They must have said like, we're gonna have to take you out, for the fourth quarter. We're up big. We don't want you to risk anything. So he might have been like, well, F this. I better get some more shots up before I get taken out. So we'll see.
Well, the Magic has, their record isn't good, but they always compete. They got a lot of young players with a lot of pride, and they always compete. So it's not surprising to me that they're playing this hard, and they don't want to have an 80-point game on their head.
Right. And he got to the front of the rim again on a lefty shot, but they sent it back.
He's shooting every time from your commentary. I'm realizing,
and these are shots at the rim, a couple of these, so it's not like
So Coach Nick, you would say at this time it's obvious they're trying to get him some crazy point total game, right?
Yeah, and by the way, he did have he came off a nice pin down and then hit the roll man Claxton for a layup. Oh, they just took him out with 3 minutes to go. So that might be why he might have gotten something that they might have said, hey, you're going to come out after 9 minutes, which is when he comes out normally. So I think he's worried, that he might not go back in because this is 95-105. It's going to be a 30-point game pretty soon. And that's, you cannot, with their history now with the injury stuff, they can't risk, that at all. But anyway, Chaser, hope that kind of we connected with your question a little bit. I think his legacy is pretty strong. But, I think it would be nice to have another finals appearance or two from him to solidify that for sure. Martin Jose, let's do that. Martin, thank you so much for the super chat. How does Wiggs shoot good from three but bad from free throw? Wow. Well, here's the thing we can talk about, Combo.
Okay.
Because there is a thing about let me see. Let me move this so I'm not distracted by the game. Kyrie's out. There's a thing about where supposedly if you look at a big enough sample size of free throw percentage, you can kind of say that person is going to be a good 3-point shooter. Like that's what people usually look at to some degree. When I think as well as I do that from in the sandbox of skill needed for a free throw, there really isn't any crossover with shooting a 3-point shot. Right? They're two different skill sets completely. Now I can't deny that somehow. If you look at all the data, most of the time, if a guy's got a good free throw percentage, he's got a good 3-point percentage. But I got to tell you, just practically, there is very little connection between those two shots. Do you agree?
I would agree with you. I think where people find that to be advantageous in rating a player is when we're talking about college draft prospects, them looking towards the NBA because the line isn't the same distance. So you kind of look at the eye test of how that shot looks and the free throw percentage together. But I think the free throw percentage is that last piece. Like, does that 3-point shot look really nice? Does he get it off effortlessly? Can he get it off when he wants? And then maybe the 3-point percentage isn't great, but we look at that free throw percentage on top of that. And if the shot looks nice on top of the free throw percentage, it shows that he has touch and he has the potential to be a good 3-point shooter, especially if he's already a defensive player and we could project him to be like a 3-and-D wing. Like let's say he's shooting 28% from three, but he has an 80% free throw. I think that looks really good in his projection to become maybe a shooter eventually.
Okay. I mean, like, and I'll just further that notion. And I actually, I pulled up Wiggins' free throws. I hope. Do you hear the game in the background of me watching Wiggins' free
No,
throws?
I don't.
Okay, good. I turned it off. I never know what gets in the soundboard or not. But at any rate, I'm watching a couple of his misses right now, just to kind of for fun to see what if there's anything I can see that's like really quickly. Yeah, I can see why he might miss. There's a rhythm here where he's got like a two motion shot on the free throw here. Let me see. So
You don't like two motion, right?
no, it's not bad. You know what? And these are good misses. These are like in and outs. I wonder if I can get a view from the top. Let's see here. One more. This is a good one. It doesn't look any different than a good free throw shooter will shoot that way. His release point is over his eyebrow, which is how he used to do it, and that's fine. It does pause there at the top, and he starts the ball low, which I like. Sometimes guys get set up here, and then they try and do it without a dip in a way. I always like to see it start low and then move up in one motion there. He does shoot it kind of quick off of the dribble, which is interesting. Some guys usually, take a little bit more of a pause. He's like dribble, 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 shot, although that looks like that varies too. So what I want to see are his feet. But these are I just watched 4 or 5 in a row. Misses, they're all in and outs. So that just tells you, he's calibrated almost perfectly. He just needs to fix a little bit of that up. But the bottom line is, if you're talking about a free throw, you don't jump. There's nobody guarding you. It's from 15 feet away. No one's passing it to you. You're not dribbling really to shoot the shot versus a 25-foot shot with a guy, crazy good athlete, running at you at the best, and hopefully get a shot off. That's why I don't think and you're jumping in the air to do that. There's just not a lot of overlap there with that skill. I have a feeling if I looked at Wiggins from the overhead view, let me just quickly jump through some of these so they have it. Here he goes. So the left foot I like, it's turned right, but the right foot is pretty much 5 toes to the rim. Okay. And I wonder if I saw him get his right foot turned a little bit more so that's parallel to the left foot, I wonder if that would help us a little bit in the margins and increase that free throw percentage. Because, I mean, these look like he's getting them straight, but I like to have a turn, where you have your right foot, your right elbow, and your right hip in line with the basket better.
So it's lined up.
Yeah, and so that's why I don't advocate 10 toes to the rim. So hopefully that kind of gave you a good answer, Martin Jose. We have, I think, another super chat. Did I see or no? Did I miss that? Yeah, here from Cody. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. Very, very generous. Cody F., thank you. Longtime fan of the channel. By far the most informative basketball YouTuber out there. Keep up the great work, Coach. Appreciate these streams. Thank you, because sometimes I don't always feel great about what I'm doing, right? It's like, it's nice to have something like that just give me a little bit of a pick-me-up. So I really, really appreciate it. I'm working really hard. Maybe a video doesn't get watched a lot. Somebody starts abusing me on Twitter, in a very mean way. And, you kind of start to walk around a little bit upset. So thank you, Cody. That really made me feel good today. Thanks. You know what I'm talking about, Combo? I know you don't get into it on Twitter with people, right?
Nah, I don't really pay attention. I've actually there's been some disrespectful stuff said to me in the past, and I look at them, and it's like it's those people that don't even have their picture up on the AVI, like, so you're not even like really standing behind what you say, like there's not even a picture of you up there, and now you're talking smack. So, I mean, it's not like talking smack back in the day, me growing up playing basketball when I could look in the person's face. You know what I mean? They're not even there. They're not even. It's some random AVI on their Twitter, so I don't really pay that too much attention.
I mean, the ones I struggle with sometimes are the ones when like the person's just really wrong and nobody wants to admit they're wrong, and I don't take any pleasure, and I tell them that it's not making me feel good. I'm just trying to help get to a better truth here on what we're talking about. And people dig in, people can't accept what you're trying to show them. I had one where a guy refused to acknowledge that you can, if you're pivoting after you pick up your dribble, you can then take a step, lift the pivot foot off the ground, and then shoot the ball. Like, he just refused. And I actually got on. I had my wife film me in the driveway, for him, so I can explain exactly why what he thought was a travel was not. And and then at some point you can't decide if the guy is simply just trolling and so excited to have like some interaction that he won't change because he just loves the back and forth, and at that point you got to either mute the conversation, mute the person, block the person, whatever. The block unblock mute is another very powerful method to make these things go away, where all of a sudden the person's not following you anymore. They don't know it necessarily, and then they're muted, so they don't see him. It's very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, like when you start something like a podcast or a YouTube channel, it is what you sign up for. Like you got to take the good with the bad, and when you become more and more of a public figure or whatever you want to call it, you're gonna have some hate. You're gonna have some stuff that you're just gonna have to deal with. It kind of comes with the territory. So
For
it's
sure,
just
for
really,
sure.
it's just really how you deal with things.
Yeah. And I see they're talking about the super chat stuff again in the comments. And again, like, yeah, it's not always easy to monetize this stuff on YouTube for me. So the super chat stuff is really very, very helpful to help me continue doing this. And it helps Combo continue to coming back as well on these shows too. So, thank you guys for doing that for us. It really makes these things a lot easier to be able to work. But yeah, let's see. Is Kyrie back in? So they let KD play all 12 minutes of the third, and then he'll come out, and then maybe Kyrie comes back in for the first few minutes of the fourth. Steph supposedly is getting his minutes back toward normal for the last several games. Let's look at his shooting percentage.
Let me ask you a question, Coach Nick. Do you feel like the return of Draymond helped Steph have a resurgence with this last game and scoring 47 points?
Did I miss that? Wait. I saw that Steph scored 47, but did Draymond come back? Because I didn't see him. When did that happen?
Recently.
Was that yesterday? Monday. Wait. Now what is time? Yeah. Oh, so you know why? They were playing the Wizards. I think I might have turned it on for a second. But wait, I don't see. No, so he didn't come back. I watched a few minutes of this. Draymond did not play.
No, he did.
Oh, he did off the bench. Oh, there he is for 20 minutes. You're right. So that's why I turned it on and watched a few minutes. He was not in. I guess I didn't realize he was out there. I'd have to see. He has 6 assists. I would imagine that a couple of those were to Curry. And even still, the answer is yes. Certainly the defensive stuff is where they really need him. But yes, without question, offensively, that mind meld that the Golden State Warrior or that Draymond and Steph has, it's amazing. And in fact, I'm going to do a video on that too, because they'll do stuff that is like, that only by playing this long together would you ever get those kind of movement and passing and stuff. So forgive me, my goodness, I was unplugged yesterday, I guess, and didn't even realize that Draymond was back. He is crucial, and they have no chance if they can't make that work. The next question I have to see is: did they do the lineup I really want to see, which is Green, Curry, Thompson, Poole, and another shooter. Who is it? Curry, Clay, Steph, Clay, Poole. And then Looney and Draymond. That might be.
It's two non-shooters. That's two non-shooters though, so it's not really a death lineup, right?
I mean, I guess you're right. All right, so keep Draymond in there at the 5, and substitute Looney for Porter. That's probably maybe the lineup, right?
Yeah,
something like that. And then you got guys who can do some stuff across the board.
Otto could definitely stretch it. So
yeah, and he hasn't been great either, but he should be better now that Draymond's back too. Everyone should get better now. But you know what? You could get Porter out of there and maybe play like Kuminga or maybe play GP, like anything, because GP I think is still 37% from 3, and they leave him open. And I don't think that might not change much. Maybe in the playoffs a little bit, but I think he can still knock some of those down.
Who was another guy?
Wiggins. Wiggins.
Moses Moody is a shooter, man. I mean, he doesn't get opportunity all the time, but he's a rookie for them. And he had 1 or 2 really big breakout games. So he's a guy who could stretch the floor. And you never know if he could break out in the playoffs. Another guy who's actually is like a polarizing topic on if he could help them in the playoffs is James Wiseman. And he's getting some reps in the G League, and he played pretty good against the G League Ignite, even though it wasn't a lot of minutes.
Yeah, he's going to be good. The only question now is, can they get him enough reps in the NBA level before the playoffs to be a viable thing? But, I'm sure they'll kind of get him out there. He'll play the last, 12 games of the season. He'll, in the playoffs, he'll probably play like 10 minutes a game, and that'll be good. They got to trim some of the Looney minutes because, him finishing down low is a real struggle, and Wiseman shouldn't struggle as much to finish some of those baskets. So they should be able to, on the margins, trim away some of the Looney stuff that they don't get. That's great, and that might be enough to offset any kind of defensive issues that they might suffer from with Wiseman out there. But then if Draymond is with him too, then that helps. So listen, I don't envy Coach Kerr because he's got so many decisions to make with too many players. and there's going to be guys who are upset because they're not going to play, and that's going to be his challenge, is to keep those guys from getting too upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And this is not a hot take. This is just how I always felt. I don't know exactly why I felt this way. Well, probably the reason is because there were so many question marks when it comes to the Warriors, and they played really great early. But even before the season, I was saying that I didn't really believe they were legit title contenders, and I still don't, because there's just so many question marks, especially with Draymond's injury. Can Clay stay consistent? Do they have enough depth? And are these guys going to are these rookies going to give them enough to give them enough depth? I'm just not a believer in them, and I think there's too many question marks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, over the last month and a half, there's lots of questions, and even like Klay Thompson went back after his crazy game. He was only 7 for 19, so he's just going to be up and down, and that probably will be what's going to happen throughout the year. And they just have to hope that he gets on a run, maybe in the playoffs. Cody, thank you, my goodness, thank you, and thank you, Sinister Yams 25, who pointed out. You know what? I did not pay attention to that enough. Steph had 47 points during Draymond's 20 minutes of playing time. Oh. Kyrie just had a pullback. Oh, my goodness, is he good? So he just came back in and hit a shot, a 15-footer on a pullback through the legs, left his defender. Oh, and then he took another three and missed. So Kyrie is gunning for it. Let me just check on the box score before let me see where he's at right now. Where's what happens when you have 100 tabs open? Kyrie's at 53. So I'm sure he's gunning for 60, and then they're going to sit him, because right now it's
well, they're not going to. They're not going to sit him if he gets 60 early. Yeah,
maybe. I just think that if it's 25 or 26, then I don't know. You're right. It's a question of but here's the thing. It's like he's not going to get 82, right? So I don't know. And if they say maybe they give him a shot at 70, but I don't think he's going to get 70. We'll see. It's got to be a really fast-paced game, or it's got to be a lot of fouls, right, where you're getting free throws and the clock stops, because that's the key, right? You can get some points on the board without the clock moving. But here, they're posting him up. They're, like you said, combo. There you go. Face up, jab step, trying to get by Fultz. They bring another player to shadow. He pulls up. Just hits a 17-footer in Fultz's eye. And you can
this doesn't even seem real, because I'm not watching it. Just hearing your commentary, it just sounds like Kyrie bucket, like a movie or something.
Oh, I know. It's insane. I mean, that's what's happening here. We got another super chat. Why the vibe? Love the name. Thank you, and thanks for the super chat. Points Kyrie gets tonight is Joker MVP. All right, so right now he's got 55. Is that what I just said? Oh wait, I lost my tab again. Kyrie is at 55. There are 9 minutes and 40 seconds left. He's isoing again. I mean, they're sending two guys at him. I don't think he gets. I think he just got knocked down. He's gonna get 2 free throws. All right, he's gonna get 60. What do you think he's gonna get?
Where's he at now? You said 55.
55, shooting 2 free throws.
68.
68.
Yeah.
All right, I say he gets 60 on the nose. All right, and then is Joker the MVP? I think so, right? I mean, what's the let me look at the standings real quick. I'm kind of curious. Do you know where they're ranked right now? The Nuggets. They are. I mean, they're 6th, and they are. They're not going to drop a game and a half probably in the last 12.
I know their record is pretty similar to the Sixers, even though they're kind of similar in the standings.
Yeah, it's close. Nuggets are 41-28. The Sixers are 41-26. So I mean, yeah. And by the way, I'm not even sure if they're trying to weigh two candidates, like look at the records of each team. They actually, maybe they do, because to me, you'd say, well, the Sixers are 3rd in the conference, while the Nuggets are 6th as well. That's another factor, but I don't know. I think it seems like the narrative is taking hold, and it's Jokic's to win as a second in a row. Wait, right? Yeah, Jokic won it last year.
Yep.
And then Embiid, I think the thing with Harden being out there might sort of cloud Embiid's MVP candidacy. That said, I'm pretty sure if we look at the since Harden's got there, Embiid's been having his monster games, so it's not like that's been holding him back.
Yeah, but I would say that loss looks bad for everybody on that team. And when it comes to MVP conversation, you're really splitting hairs, and that's a game you could look at. Just getting blown out by another team like that was on the national spotlight, and it is people that are voting, and people did see that game. So
by the way, Kyrie just got another strip on Fultz who tried to pull up in his face, and he just stripped him on the way up, which is a great a great way to defend as a guard. You know,
He's
do
a
you ever do that?
He's a skillful defender. Did I ever do that? I didn't play much defense, Coach Nick, but
Oh, okay.
I
Sorry.
probably did it at. I probably did it at. You don't have to say sorry. It was my fault, but I probably done it at. Yeah, no, I've done that before. I've done that.
All right. Yeah, I was a defender. I mean, I could shoot the lights out. I was a defender, and I would.
So you were 3-and-D. You were 3-and-D.
Yeah. So right. But that strip on the way up is so difficult to deal with. Even if you miss it, like you probably had to move the ball over on the way up to get it off. Oh, Kyrie just hits a three with Mo Wagner. I think it was Mo Wagner just flying right in his face. So this guy is, I mean, big head mode, Super Saiyan. I mean, whatever you want to call it, this guy is it.
You need the NBA Jam audio drop. He's on fire. Did you add that to the mix, Coach Nick?
You know, I forgot to fix that, you know, but I'll do this.
You asked me what sounds do I need, and what did I say?
Yeah, I know. Here. Anyway, yeah, I got to get that going. You know what? It wasn't working, so this mixed cast thing I got all sorts of ways, and I think I need a sound card in there, and it didn't want the sound card, so I will fix that. But yeah, we need to get that. He's on fire.
Yeah.
What else
heating up. He's heating up. Boom shakalaka.
Oh yeah, boom shakalaka. We need. Oh, you know what? Siri just got in the. Why is Siri here? Go away.
She heard the NBA Jam.
Yeah. Anyhow, this is exciting. Now, if I turn this up, you can hear the audio of the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be watching now. You got me excited to watch this.
Oh well, listen. It's not my fault that you don't have TV in that setting, and we, you know, I wish you want to pick it up and take it. Go. No,
it's all right. It's fine.
You sure?
Cool. Yeah. Sure.
All right. 8.5 minutes to go in the fourth. Okay. At this point, I think yes, maybe they're going to let Kyrie play it out. I mean, he's that hot. All right. If he had cooled down a little bit, I'd think okay, well maybe. But I got to do a video on this, don't you think?
You have to, even though you've recently done a Nets video, but it doesn't matter when it comes to something like this. Maybe he'll drop 80, but I think it'll be 68, like I said.
Yeah. But by the way, I did the Kyrie video when he first came back, and nobody watched it. I'm like, what? Maybe I dropped it at a weird time of day. I don't know, but like that was just the biggest shocker to me of all time. Somebody explain that to me in the comments out there. You guys are the ones who watch the videos. Tell me why the Kyrie video I did when he first came back is probably going to be the worst watched video of the whole season. Honestly, in fact, I'll tell you right now what it was while we're talking. Okay, so Kyrie right now is at 60, franchise record for the Nets. 20 for 31. I mean, by the way, and Durant had 50, and then Kyrie had 50 a few days before. This has got to be one of the greatest week runs from a guard we've ever seen. But let's see, Kyrie. Maybe I didn't title it right. Where is it? I think it was does Kyrie fit alongside Harden and Durant? And yeah, it's going to be my lowest viewed video, and I don't know why. Somebody explain that one to me in the comments. Maybe I'll see something here. Because people hate on Kyrie. Okay. Bad quality. I watched. Thank you, Playmaker.
Bad. What was bad quality?
Oh, we got another super chat. As I'm going through here, my goodness, Andrew Zhu. This, by the way, we're as hot with the super chat as Kyrie is on the buckets tonight. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Which rookie will be the best player in 10 years? Now that is a good question. What do you think, Combo?
I think as much as I like Scotty Barnes, and I was really high on Scotty Barnes before the draft, and I thought Toronto nailed that pick. I have to go with Cade Cunningham. He just has a great skill set, could score on 3 levels, great passer, could pass with either hand, has great poise. And as I said, I've been watching him all year, but if you watch him in that rookie game, that rookie showcase that they had, that young player showcase during the All-Star break, I know you take those games with a grain of salt, but it shows just how much more advanced he is compared to his peers. And I just feel like he's such a skillful player, and good things will happen when he's on the basketball court. And I do think he will end up being the best rookie in this class.
I agree. For all those reasons, he's as polished as anybody. He's got size. He'll continue to fill out, and he's going to be a beast. And there's going to be a lot of good rookies in this class, a lot. And,
yes.
So this will probably go down as one of the best rookie classes we've had, we'll have, I think. Even the guys like, Jalen Suggs has promise that we've seen in little bits and pieces. Let's see, Wagner is not a rookie. Wait, is Wagner a rookie? He's a rookie.
Yes.
By the way, they took Kyrie out.
Okay. I mean, Josh
Guess
Giddey.
How many points he had, Combo?
How many?
How many did I say he was going to have?
Well, he's not done yet.
He's done.
Game's not over.
You think they're going to put him back in a 40-point game? I don't think so. I think
Well,
you give him the run to start the fourth quarter and then they take him out. I think he's out. He had 60, just like I said, man. That's like uncanny how good that was. So
that was great, Coach Nick.
yeah,
Congratulations.
I'm almost going to turn this off so I can turn you back up. I had to turn this down because I don't want you to hear the TV too much. But
yeah, I was talking about all the great rookies. Like Josh Giddey's strengths are super special. Like
yeah,
he's a great passer. He has a chance to be one of the great passers of the league. Evan Mobley is a difference maker on defense already. You got other rookies like Herb Jones and Ao DeSumo who are, really solid players already. I mean, just across the board, I'm missing people. Like there's so many good rookies this year in terms of depth and top end talent.
Kaminga.
Yeah, Kaminga,
Moody.
Wiseman. I mean, Wiseman will be good eventually. Oh no, that's 2 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Moody. There's guys who didn't get a chance yet, like James Book. And I'll tell you, I actually just watched a G League game in the Atlanta area. Two guys that nobody's talking about, Jalen Johnson and Sharif Cooper, I think are going to be really good, and they're hardly getting NBA reps.
Wow.
NBA reps. So yeah, there's a lot of good rookies to look forward to.
All right, I'm turning off the TV thing. So if Kyrie comes back in, there's 6 minutes to go. If he comes back in, somebody tell me in the comments. So I'm going to turn you. Now I can hear you. There we go. I can hear you better. Yeah, I mean, the Moody thing is interesting. And they're trying to accelerate his comfortability as quickly as possible because they were giving all those minutes before to, Doc Rivers is what's his face? He's married to, isn't he married? He's married to his sister. Who is it? Yeah, not Malcolm Lee. Damian Lee.
Yeah,
gosh. Damian Lee.
Yeah.
Somebody I know. I can't believe I forgot his name.
I mean, Moses Moody's going to be better than him.
Oh, he's already better than him.
Yeah.
He's got more ability than him, and that's why they're like, hey, let's just get him all these minutes right now. And they probably suffered a little bit with some mistakes he was making as a rookie. But I think Kerr was like, we don't care. We'll sacrifice a few games in March, knowing that he'll be ready to go in the playoffs for 12 minutes a game or whatever. The vibe. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Another super chat. What team would Westbrook work on right now? Well, I get into this with some Westbrook fans and who are convinced.
Was that a setup so we could joke on Westbrook? I feel like it's like a setup. So I'll let you answer this one, Coach.
Yeah, no, I am not.
But thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it.
You. It's like I'm like on my other computer as the vibe doing this. It's my burner. So I don't think I think that's it. Here's the thing, like. People want to maybe pretend like, oh, it's just this year, and oh my God, what's what happened to Russ? He's been doing this his whole career. I've been okay. You remember how Russell Westbrook came out with that heartfelt thing? Did we talk about this last week? No.
Yes,
we did.
Yeah, because he was getting death threats, and
right.
And we all agreed that nobody should be giving death threats to a basketball player over basketball things. Right. Nobody should be getting death threats. Period. That's
no.
Yeah,
but he also it seemed to be really affected by the Westbrook thing, right, or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, because they were disrespecting his name. He felt like.
Yeah, and that's that I get it, but like that ain't gonna stop. But nonetheless, and Westbrook isn't like it's not like it's something terrible. I mean, but however he was feeling, that's how I felt for years. Doing the analysis of him and people screaming and yelling and trying to discredit me. Like I had people looking into my past and trying to discredit my coaching record or whatever, because I'd show, video evidence of why Russ isn't as good as you might think he is. So in some respects, it's like, I got that same kind of treatment for a while, on social media, at least. And now everyone's kind of getting it, but like this has been the way it's been the whole time. So, you put him on a team where you got 4 other shooters around him and he gets to handle the ball and get 38% usage. Yeah. Then you'll see triple doubles, but you can plug a lot of people into that role and a lot of people will get a lot of numbers. So that's the thing that's a little troubling with the way he plays, but either way, so here, so that's the team. So, a specific team, is it the Knicks?
No. The Knicks, I mean, it's not what they should do because they should feature their young players and see who they want to move forward with. They're not doing that enough as of now with Coach Tibbs, who's really stuck in his ways, but I don't think Westbrook really helps their cause in any way.
No, and I don't, and with Randall there and RJ Barrett, like he's not gonna, that's not really gonna fit with him either.
Right.
So like okay, well let's bring in next levels. Super chat, thank you. Next level, really really generous. Westbrook would work on in Orlando. I mean, yeah, like you plug him on Orlando and he'll just dominate the ball and everything like that. But then again, they don't have the kind of spacing and shooting that he would benefit from either. So he'd get more opportunities, right? And he would dominate that.
They got a young team. They're a rebuilding team.
Right.
I don't
Well, I
think
mean, I think, and the point being though, that let's just say you put him on that team, he'd get the role change would indicate that he would get, he'd be better, right? I mean, listen,
his stats would be better. Yes.
Yeah, he's so in his head now. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. He's not like as aggressive as he used to be because he doesn't want to turn the ball over. And as a result, then the things that were good about him are not really nearly as good. And that's one of the reasons why like they're just getting killed out there. They cannot, but they might not win until AD comes back. They could easily. You know what? Let's look at their schedule, shall we? Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. Do you know what that mean? No.
Sounds familiar.
Paul Rudd. You don't know what that mean? That's my favorite. Paul Rudd's my favorite actor, but when he's that show where
I thought I was your favorite actor.
Actor? What movies have you been in?
I was a delivery man. I was on the Knicks.
What?
Yeah, but I mean, on the Knicks? I was only on the movie for 2 minutes, but 2 seconds. Sorry, what 2 movie? Seconds. Delivery man. I was on the Knicks, but it was only 2 seconds. I was on the screen.
Is there a movie called Delivery Man?
Yeah, with Vince Vaughn. I'm on the Knicks. You could see me for a second.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that there's a movie called Delivery Man.
Yeah.
What year was that?
He has a lot of kids in the movie, and one of them happens to be on the Knicks. I don't play that guy, but I play somebody on the Knicks, and I'm on the screen for like 2 seconds. But maybe I'll have more larger roles in the future. You never know.
All right, cool. I actually walked by on a bridge in a movie that featured Penelope Ann Miller and Craig Sheffer in 1987.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true? Okay.
You know what? I never actually watched the movie to see, but I'm like 100% sure that I was in the shot. So
okay.
But I have to watch that and see. So we share a similar, like perhaps maybe I'm not. Maybe they cut it, but as far as I know, I was in that one. But no, I used to work on films commercials, for a long time, and I did acting I did auditioning acting as well.
Do you think that helped you with what you do today?
Oh, this for me, it's like Slumdog Millionaire. All these really ridiculous jobs I had for out of college through whatever, might have seemed like I was spinning my wheels, not getting anywhere. But then I realized later, I'm like, oh, that actually really helps me for doing what I'm doing now, and that helps me what I'm doing. So absolutely, performing, improv, acting, clearly helped me to be able to do this on camera. But I had to do a lot more work even after that, after I started, to get better at it, because I realized there's a special skill set to being on camera and being able to to do it properly. I'm looking for something though. What am I looking up?
I don't
Damn,
know.
I was opening a new tab to look for something before you got me off on my acting time. Who remembers what I was talking about? Damn. What is going on here in the comments? Oh, well, it's nice. We can always do a little, put people in timeouts in the comments. Oh yeah, this person needs to be put in timeout.
What happened?
The schedule. Oh, Lakers schedule. You know what? Look at us. Who would have thought? That's the other thing. So Paul Rudd is eating hot wings on the show. You know the show on YouTube where they have these famous people eat hot stuff, hot wings?
That sounds familiar.
It's black background, looks like Charlie Rose. Anyway, and so Paul Rudd was doing it, and he's like, look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. Anyway, so that's my favorite one. I do with my family all the time. So let's look at the Lakers schedule, because I'm curious. They're 29-39. I've already gone to schedule. So here's who they have left in their schedule. It's not a lot. Minnesota, Toronto, Washington, Cleveland, Philly, New Orleans, Dallas, Utah, New Orleans, Denver, Phoenix, Golden State, Oklahoma City, Denver. They're not going to make it.
It sounds like a tough schedule to me.
Yeah, it's a very tough schedule. In fact, they must have had it easier in the beginning. But they got to play the Pelicans twice, who, I think they want to be in the playoffs. So that's going to be a thing.
And they're good.
Yeah, they got to play Cleveland, who's, they're competing and they want to play. The only easy one may be the Wizards, the only one in that list, right? Oklahoma City, they got the second to last game of the season. They got Oklahoma City. They got 2 games out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, OKC will try. OKC will probably try to lose that game because
they might be able to win 4 of the last 12 games. They might go 4-8. And 4-8, it's still. I mean, when you have a 2.5 game lead, that's not easy to lose that kind of lead from where they are now to drop below 10th. But they're gonna put a run in. They're gonna make a run for it.
LeBron could will them to win more than 4, I think, if he wants to.
I'm starting to think that he's not as dominant in that. Even when he gets this huge 50-point game, it doesn't have an effect on the score. And that happens now, I think, more than usual than it used to. Like if Michael had a 50-point game, like they're going to win that game by 30 points. It was never close. And now, though, I think a lot of guys, even with the 3-point shot, like, you'll see a guy go for 40 or whatever, and like, the game's close or they're losing. So, I don't know. I don't know if LeBron has it like that anymore, especially because their defense is that bad.
You know how I look at LeBron now? It's almost like he's a legacy act. Like when Jay-Z makes a song, you really can't compare Jay-Z to like Little Baby. But even though Little Baby is the best rapper right now, probably by consensus. But if you look at Jay-Z, he's not like really like a current rapper anymore. And I kind of feel that way when it comes to LeBron, because he was playing when a lot of these rookies were like 1 year old. Like, how do you compare LeBron to anybody else anymore? Like when you look at the league's best players, I feel like you can't even compare him to the rest of the league in a lot of ways. That might be a cop out for me because his team is doing so bad. So maybe,
Right.
probably would look at that. But he is in the NBA, so you should be able to compare him to other players. But it's almost like he's playing in a totally different era, kind of like Kareem was doing at one point.
Yeah, I Little Baby, I have no idea. Who you're talking about? Who else are you talking about? Jay-Z?
You know Jay-Z. Come on, Coach Nick.
Yeah, listen, Jay-Z was big when I was teaching in high school. High school art class. We'd have the radio on, and right. Jay-Z did Big Pimpin', right?
Of course.
So if you want to talk like Run DMC and LL Cool J, like I can rap with you on that one. But okay. I disconnected a little bit from rap after the late 80s, early 90s.
What I'm saying is there's something called like a legacy act, right? Like towards the end of Prince's life, let's say, we wouldn't really compare him to current musicians. We would look at him like a legacy act in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
and that's
but the movie scene is, the young up and comer, who's like the hot act now, like treats him, who is this has been, and Prince comes on stage and just blows everybody away, dancing, doing the guitar, singing, the whole thing, right? Which he could still do even at the end. And LeBron is similar that way too. Now, if let's just say LeBron like didn't shoot threes, right? That would be even more of that legacy where he's so out of place. You know what I mean? He has kept his game somewhat current. Like Kobe didn't keep his game current, right? He really couldn't shoot threes. He kind of tried, but it was kind of a mess, right? And he changed his shot and the whole thing. That's what would be more fascinating. Like it's almost like if who's the manimal from the Nuggets?
Kenneth Faried.
Yeah, Faried. Like almost like if Faried was, was able to stay in the league, was playing whatever, but and now he's 35, and and he's
Is there anybody in the league like that who's like really playing an old style of play? Not really, right? Yeah. LaMarcus Aldridge maybe, but he's stretching it out.
He stretched it out.
Oh, Drummond
a little bit, but it's also the sixth man of the year who played for the Lakers, and they got him out of there for Wizards. Montrezl Harrell.
I guess so. I feel like he has like some guard stuff on the perimeter that a lot of old bigs didn't have, Like he has a little bit of shiftiness to him that a lot of those, I guess you could kind of compare it to like a Larry Johnson, right? Even though Larry was better.
Yeah, and Larry shot some threes in my mind, at least I think.
Oh no, that was with the Knicks though, not really with Charlotte though.
No, not with Charlotte. He never got beyond the top of the key.
He actually was on my pod before. Shouts to Larry Johnson, but he had that. Yeah, he actually had that 4-point play, and which was really really epic in New York sports history.
All right, well, listen, if the super chat's gonna dap me for my taste in rap music, I got to put that on the screen. So Cody, thank you for that one. I mean, listen, there was a certain musicality toward the rap scene in the 80s that I think I gravitate towards more a lot now. We still hear it. I mean, there's still some guys, I think even like Kanye does that, right? And I mean, is Kanye considered rap? He's considered rap.
Yes, but he's doing a lot of gospel now. Did you get to watch his documentary?
I did not. Should I?
It's a 3-part series on Netflix. It's pretty good.
I owe it to myself to learn a little bit more about him because I don't know much. And there's a couple of songs I actually do like. But my kids would bring it in the car, And we laugh about some of the stuff like dippity do whatever the dippity thing is. What was that one where he's just making up words? But and like even like guys like the musicality of like Beck. I always like that. More recently too. But and then I suppose it's like the sampling stuff too. Like so when you're talking about Beastie Boys, De La Soul, those guys who would layer musical stuff on with behind the rap, like that to me, I'd always sort of resonate more with me. By the way, the Beastie Boys documentary, have you seen that?
I have not. Where can I find that?
It's on Hulu, Netflix, something.
You know what's crazy about the Kanye deck? Like I really don't even watch Netflix, but I went out my way and I tuned in and I thought it was pretty good. I don't watch that much TV in general, but one thing I will watch, I think, is this Lakers series that came out. Have you seen it?
Oh, well, not only have I seen it anyway, and thank you, Cody. We're gonna take it off. Dude, I'm doing a weekly show every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, where we're recapping the shows. So yeah.
Who's we? Who are you?
Me and Roland Lazenby, who is one of the best-selling author who's working on a book right now about magic. This guy's an encyclopedia of exactly what happened and when and where and how, especially when it relates to magic. He also has an amazing book on Jerry West that he wrote. So he's throwing stuff in here that nobody knows. And it's amazing. So you got to tune in if you can. And
I have to tune in, and I might have to get him on the podcast. So maybe you could connect.
Yeah, for sure. I'll connect with him for sure. He's great. He's really great, and a guy I've known forever. He's a triangle offense guy as well. He's got some coaching in his background too, but he's really a terrific writer. He wrote a Michael Jordan biography that's incredible too. So
what's the name of it?
The Life.
The Michael Jordan is called The Life.
Michael Jordan, I think The Life. Dash the Life, or just Michael Jordan Life, space the Life. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you for letting me throw that out there, guys. If you're out there watching right now, make sure to tune in. Remember, all these shows live after the fact, in my queue in the live section, so you can watch them later, like as a pod. So definitely you got to check that out. We had our first episode on yesterday. It was so good. We'll be every Monday recapping that. But the Beastie Boys doc is on Apple TV Plus, I believe, and it's based on a live show they did. They did a series of live shows in a theater, and it was like a multimedia interactive show, and then they filmed it all and then edited it together, and it's amazing. And I lived through that and didn't know half the things that they were talking about, or forgotten half the things. So that's a really good documentary to watch as well. And I don't know. I mean, this is cool. I always like to talk about pop culture stuff too. Should we go for 2 more minutes and what we're watching?
Yeah, no, I would like to hear your thoughts on. I guess it's impossible to compare a series to a one segment documentary, but how would you compare The Last Dance to Hoop Dreams? Like, which did you like better?
Oh, okay. And by the way, let's talk about the Lakers thing too before we forget. But Last Dance versus Hoop Dreams. I mean, man, that is tough to compare because they're so different. And what's interesting, I almost could have been in Hoop Dreams, by the way.
Oh, really?
I was playing in those games. That was my year in high school. You know what I mean? Like I was around a little bit of that. I was like kind of peeking to see, but some of that stuff was probably like the one level above where I was playing for some of those guys that we saw. But I was, that was right in my era. So that's like reliving my childhood. But so is the Last Dance, even more like reliving my childhood because that was, actually more of my probably more of my college or end of high school college. So. I think The Last Dance ended up being a little bit more effective, maybe, and more interesting, more compelling. But man, Hoop Dreams is as compelling as can be, and gritty and raw, and the way it took them so long to make it. I don't know if I can really choose. What do you think?
I think documentaries from that era are just so much different because we didn't have so many options like YouTube and podcasts and social media. So when something like that came out, it usually got so much more attention. But you can't say anything that didn't get more attention than The Last Dance because that happened during the pandemic and everybody was in their house. And it was such a smart idea for Netflix and ESPN to come out with it at that time. So it's really hard to say. I mean, when it's all said and done, I think The Last Dance will have more impact, but it's really close, in my opinion, when it just comes to quality of documentary.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the tale it tells, and then you get to see Pingator, who was the head coach where Isaiah Thomas had gone at St. Joe's, I think. outside of Chicago, you get to see like that shitty coaching that like used to go on and was prevalent and everyone respected and revered. Like that was amazing. And it was just a lot of yelling and a lot of negativity, and false bravado and false, and toxic masculinity and all that stuff.
Well, and it was crazy how like when they felt like Arthur wasn't going to grow or he wasn't going to, have as much potential as they once thought, they kind of just got rid of him and threw him to the side. It wasn't right. It just wasn't right.
Yeah, no, there's so much a lack of support for players if they don't like pan out on the court, which is ridiculous. And
I feel like it's not as cutthroat as it used to be. Am I wrong when it comes to that kind of stuff? Like they do a better job of taking care of. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Maybe you don't hear about it, but it's happening. I don't know, but I would be surprised. I mean, listen, in LA, the recruiting scene is so rampant, and all these private schools lure these guys from the public schools to their schools with scholarships and stuff. So it happens a lot. So it's hard to imagine that they all work out beautifully, right? And it doesn't happen again. So I'm assuming I'm pretty certain you had that kind of Arthur Agee story, every year. Going, whatever, but maybe not. I would hope not, because again, like a lot of these private schools are very nice and they can prepare you for, for terrific colleges. And, if you're not quite performing on the basketball court, like, so what? Like, let this be the opportunity for that player to blossom in the classroom as well and get that support.
And he ended up being a pretty good player, actually having almost the same career or even a better career than William, because William kept getting injured, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. Well, Gates went to Marquette and was on that path to then probably get to the NBA, but he was undersized. He was kind of like Larry Johnson. He played like a forward position, but he was probably like 6'3", I think, right?
I think he was like a 3. Yeah, I think Larry was more of a 4, but I see what you're saying. A little undersized, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. And Larry Johnson was also undersized at the 4,
and also Larry was way more athletic than William. Like Larry was a crazy athlete.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's too bad. I my memory of the evidence we did see of William Gates before he got hurt was that he was going to be a really good athlete. Like he was good and explosive, but he definitely, and that's the other problem is, knee surgery in 1986.
Yeah,
was
it was just different. Yeah,
like nobody came back from an ACL tear better than they were before. Now,
except Bernard King, right?
I don't think he was better, but he was able to maintain, and have only maybe 1 year, I think, that reminded us. Bernard King, man, damn, was he great. I mean, there were so many great players.
He willed his way to recovery. Like he was doing all kinds of interesting rehab measures that nobody else was doing.
He had a huge brace on. He was trying to play, and it didn't bother him at all. And he just was a sniper from 17.
Turnaround, right? The turnaround.
Yeah. Like in his shot, I don't think he would have been able to get behind the 3-point line and be consistent. It was like over the head and tough, but yeah, like Alex English is kind of the same way. Alex English shot like Reggie Miller a little bit. Now Reggie was able to get a 3-point shot off, even though that release point was way over his head. You know what? So maybe Alex English could have done it too.
What do you think about Kevin Martin? Had a interesting form, and he was able to stretch it to 3. He was a really good shooter, actually.
He only on the left side of the floor, though.
Oh,
because remember he is so extreme. He needed to almost be facing the half court line on the right wing to get his elbow right, but on the left wing, he already turned that way anyways, a righty. So if you look at his shot charts back then, I remember looking at that. It was like he didn't make very many threes on the right side of the shot of the basket.
Is it that his percentage was bad, or he didn't even take a lot from that?
My memory is the percentage was bad. I bet you there was low. The attempts were low as well, because I think he shot like this, right? And so to do this and be able to end the way out in front of him, you'd have to turn so much, which is what he did on the left side to kind of catapult it. That it was awkward. It was kind of like the Lonzo Ball thing in some respects.
Yeah, I mean, well, Lonzo Ball's jump shot has a lot better energy transfer now than it did a few years ago. I mean, he worked with that guy from the Pelicans. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name. I should give him his credit, but he did a really great job with Lonzo and getting his shot better, moving it over. And
I didn't think he had to do that, but I hear he was shooting it well now. So hey, it worked out. But I always felt like even the way he was shooting it before on the other side of his face, to me felt like it's replicable, and it was he could find a consistent rhythm that way. Well, here's the thing: he didn't have rhythm with the legs timed properly. Now maybe it would be impossible with the way he was slinging it, but to me it would have been an easy fix, and then he would have been able to continue shooting that way. But again, it would have been the same problem on the right side of the floor because of that. So he is probably better for what they did with him.
It's interesting though. His step back isn't the same as it was because he can get right into that hand off the step back and then
but always to the left, right?
Exactly.
But Harden's the same way. Most of his step backs are to his right as well, so the left elbow can be in.
No, I mean, as a lefty, I know it's when you're working on it, when you're shooting in the game, to the right is definitely easier.
No. Oh, it's a lefty. Yes.
Yes, I'm a lefty.
Sorry, that. Now, Cat, in my video, we broke it down. He has a couple of them where he does the left hand dribble, jab, right foot jab, almost at the same time, and then left right into the shot as a step back. And the guy's 7-footer. That's an unstoppable shot.
Yeah. I mean,
my kids I'm working with some kids right now who are like in 8th grade. I'm teaching them that move from probably. I'm going to start with at 15 feet, and then I'll see if I can get some of those guys back behind the 19-9 line.
Yeah, I mean, hezzy pull is also easier with my right. Like the Durant move with the right is a lot easier than with my left.
For sure. Yeah, Well, listen, I think this is a great show. We had a ton of people in here, a ton of super chats. Let me make sure I didn't. Oh, did I miss one? Oh boy, darn it. Sorry. Forgive me, Rodney. Oh man, this is 10 minutes ago. Somehow I gotta tell you, they gotta fix this so it pops up a lot more clearly in the comments. But Rodney, thank you so much. Hopefully you're still out there. If Steph has reached decline, who's the best point guard?
Ja Morant.
Okay. What's a point guard? What is that position?
Yeah, I feel like, also, I mean, Steph isn't really a point guard and Ja Morant's really a point guard. So I think they just play a different position, in my opinion. I don't know what you would call the position Steph plays. Rashad Phillips has a great position dictionary, and he would give a better description of it than I would. But I mean, Draymond's really their point guard. Ja Morant is a real point guard. Steph Curry is not a point guard. Steph Curry is still a better player to me than Ja Morant, but Ja Morant is actually a point guard the way he plays the game of basketball.
Okay. Yeah. So Steph's maybe a lead guard and Ja could be a point guard. But okay, so Ja, that's interesting. I mean, you're right. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Like CP3 is still up there, but he's out and he's hurt, so we can't really. Let's not throw him in there. There's got to be somebody else. Who are we missing?
I mean, who are we missing? There's probably somebody really obvious that we're missing.
I mean, like Harden is not a point guard, right?
Yeah, I mean, he plays more like a point guard than he used to. I mean,
yeah, like
is Harden better than Ja Morant right now? I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. Jokic is probably the best point guard in the league.
He's a point center. Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those guys. So yeah, that's a good question. So thank you, Rod.
We're probably missing somebody really obvious, though. I have a feeling we are.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm sure they're screaming in the comments. Kyrie, Lillard, LaMelo. Okay. Wait, what happened? I just missed. I missed your second super chat. When
it says, "Where can we find Combo's content?"
Oh, that one. Well, let's get that one. Cody, great question. Thank you. Combo, will you fill that in while I find Andrew's second super chat? Forgive me.
Cody, you could find me on Combo's Court Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find me on Instagram at 12combo. That's ONETWOCOMBO. You can find me on Twitter at Combo's Court. Same name as the podcast, COMBOS, COURT. And you can find me right here on B-Ball Breakdown. Live shows with Coach Nick all the time. Thanks, Cody, for asking that question. Really appreciate it. And I hope everybody tunes into the podcast.
Andrew, I'm going through this whole chat. Oh, God, that got buried. Somehow I missed this one. Why Westbrook effective with KD, not anybody else? What do you think?
I mean, I don't think he was any bit different. I will say that his free throw percentage was a lot better, and his mid-range jump shot was a lot better when he played with KD, but I'm not sure that had anything to do with KD. And also, he was a lot younger, I would say.
Yeah. All I remember from those is they lose a game. KD would have like 18 field goal attempts, and Russ would have 22. And I would be like, what is going on here? How is it that, KD should be having the most shots clearly, and they should be getting set up. And so I don't know if it ever really worked between those two guys. It felt like it was always a big, butting of the heads. And I know that they said they were friends, but when KD got to the Warriors and they almost had a fight, like, I think that even though I know it probably was something that was rooted in KD leaving, But I wonder just how close they really were and how much that really worked, because I don't know. I never got that camaraderie from them.
Yeah, I mean, Westbrook was younger. I mean, it was when he was at his peak at that time. I don't know if KD was the reason.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? KD did provide spacing. I'll tell you that. When he
Yeah.
was off the ball, so that helped. But yeah, he was just younger. He shot the mid range better. He shot free throws better. He was more athletic. He was probably a better defender.
I
So it
got
was just,
I got to go watch some of my breakdowns of those games. I kind of forgot already the OKC, because there were times when their force defensively was so overwhelming to teams, even the Warriors back then, that like it was scary. They would come at you, and they have Serge Ibaka, and they have all the other guys that were athletes who were just so quick, so long, made everything so difficult. So against those top teams, what makes the difference is our decision making, and that's where Russ always held them back. So. That's why. And by the way, Westbrook was probably like more effective after KD left, and he's really started to get the end of the year and all those triple doubles. So
that's true.
So that might have been even more so, but that was also more as a function of usage rate and the fact that everybody was like, hey Russ, we're gonna help you get your 10 rebounds. I'm gonna get out of your way and all that stuff. So
when the season is over, Coach Nick, you should do a video of the throwback OKC team with Harden, Durant, and Westbrook, and even Serge Ibaka was in the mix as well. So that would be an interesting video, I think, just to like show what their role was there and how their games evolved over time.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, certainly what could have happened was Harden started, because he wasn't starting, remember, back then. And if Harden had started and Russ moved over to 2 guard, and then KD was there, that would have been the best version that they could have had, and they probably would have won a title.
Yeah. Did you think it was a big mistake that they let Harden go instead of Ibaka?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, but they also sensed that there was going to be a big chemistry issue, which is something you don't want to ignore, right? So I would have, what I would have done, right?
What?
I would have traded Russ at that point anyway and just kept Harden and Ibaka.
Yeah, that would have. In hindsight, it seems like the right move, but it would have been. It wasn't justified in the moment, right? The way people were looking at that team.
I feel like I wonder if I have that memory of even talking about that, because this was 2014, right? This wasn't like 2012, whatever. This was a couple of years after their finals appearance.
Go back and look up the receipts. Maybe you have something up there. It would look good in hindsight. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but no, without question. I mean, listen, they had a lot of fun and a lot of great memories with Russ after that. But if you're talking about winning and the way the chemistry and all that stuff, Harden and KD. Oh man.
I mean, we've seen it again, Coach Nick. It didn't really work out, but
damn. Well, okay. Harden, KD in Brooklyn with Kyrie. Yeah, I guess you're right. But it would have been different, right? Maybe it wouldn't have been.
I mean, it was a different moment in time. So, I mean, Harden complaints wouldn't be the same. I mean, KD wasn't injured. Obviously all they were dealing with in Brooklyn with the Kyrie stuff. Harden felt like his chances for winning a championship weren't as high with the Nets than maybe another team like the Sixers.
Right. I mean, I got, what is it called? I got bald. I mentioned that, one of the reasons why Harden was getting beat by Kyrie one-on-one in practice so often, it became a problem. Did you see that report? Ballsack reports, whatever, like that fake Twitter account.
Wait, what'd they say? Say that again.
Oh, I got sacked. That's what they call it.
Okay.
So I saw a tweet, and I thought I saw it somewhere else where there was like a story. It sounded like assistant coaches were telling people that like Kyrie was killing Harden in practices, and it got such it was so they were butting heads so much. It was one of the reasons why Harden wanted out, because he was getting destroyed by Kyrie. Didn't really make sense to me, but I was like, I saw it. I'm like, okay, so I threw a line in there about that in the video. And I got sacked, apparently, is what the term is. And I had to look that up. So I learned something about it. So it wasn't a total loss.
Yeah. As long as you're learning, you're getting better. That's all that matters, Coach Nick.
You
know what? I feel like Coach Nick, when I go into my like cliche bag, Coach Nick doesn't really appreciate all my cliches I have. But they're not cliches. Like, this is what I really feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's as long as you're giving 100%, 110% combo.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah.
You gave a cliche back.
Oh, I used to do that all the time. I'm like, okay, I can bet what the guy's going to say in the post game press conference. And
you're not a cliche guy, huh?
No, I mean, listen, I used to write screenplays, and so the cliches are the enemy of any good screenwriter. So I hate using it. But I'll use them,
Oh,
if you can make it funny. But I usually mix them up, and I'll combine two random ones that don't fit, and that works too. Comedy.
interesting. Hey, do you feel like one random YouTube question? Do you feel like sometimes it's just really random what gets a lot of views and what doesn't? Because like it might not even be the player or the time of day. It's just like totally random that some videos get more views than others.
Yeah, I mean, there's that notion, but then the other thing is, for to get a couple 100,000 views of a video, you have to rely on YouTube to accelerate that by sharing it
Uh,
more than they normally would. And so that is the randomness or whatever that they somehow plug into when they're getting it. And that has a lot to do with the initial views in the first couple hours. And if you drop the video at the wrong time of day, everyone's sleeping or they're doing other things or something else is going on, then you're not going to get that initial velocity from your core subscribers. And then YouTube's like, well, we're not going to blast this out either. It's interesting. Joe Rogan, was doing well with his podcast, but not amazing. And as soon as he went to YouTube for live shows, 3 hours a day, whatever that was, YouTube was pushing live shows already. So I have no doubt that they adjusted their algorithm to push it on purpose. And, he probably has as much to owe YouTube as anything else for having such a huge career now. And by the way, that's why I do these live shows now. I'm thinking, maybe I should do more. Tell me in the comments. I'm thinking maybe I can do an hour a day. And I really do a nicely produced show where problem is I can't show the highlights, but we could do something. That's why I was doing the drawing the plays and stuff like that. So, you need clickbait thumbnails. Oh, and the clickbait.
Coach Nick, they rather hear us talk than like a 360 dunk or somebody making somebody fall, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe listen. If it's as popular as today's was, then yeah, let's do it every day.
Okay.
That's the problem is I want to do it in the day. Well, the question is what time should we do that? And that's if it's daytime where it's tough. But either way, but we'll figure it out. I'm constantly playing with the content to figure out what's working better and what can what's easier to make that everyone wants to watch. So, but if these are fun. These are fun. I love doing them, Combo. So I'm glad that we were able to connect. I think this all starts with you inviting me on your show at one point a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I had you on the show a few times. It was always great conversation. So I'm glad you allowed me on your platform to talk basketball. It's always fun talking basketball with you, Coach Nick. And let's continue to do it, man. Let's continue to get better. And I appreciate all the fans and the friends joining in and joining the conversation.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the super chats. Wow, above and beyond. Probably the best one we've ever had. And again, that really, really helps us keep this show going. So thank you so much for doing that. And we got to wrap it up, man. I got to go get some dinner. I'm hungry, and it's almost 7. So thank you, Combo. Anything else you want to push before we go?
I said it already in the super chat, but Combos Court Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow me on Instagram at 12combo. That's ONETWOCOMBO. Twitter Combos Court, same name as the podcast. And of course, subscribe to this channel, B-Ball Breakdown.
Wow. And thank you guys out here, Martin and Eliza and Cody, the super chats too, and all that stuff. Really great stuff. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Combo?